name is John Rooney, I'm the MBA Programme Manager. The economics course primarily looks at economics in relation to business performance and business opportunities and business constraints. One of the objectives of the module is to broaden the perspective of students and get them to realise that all businesses everywhere in the world operate within a particular market environment.
And what we're going to do today is assume that firms are going to be operating in a perfectly competitive market. What do we mean by a perfectly competitive market? Many buyers, many suppliers, information is free or perfect, homogeneous products, fourth assumption, freedom of entry and exit. We'll look at a market structure called monopoly, in contrast to perfect competition. Rather than having many or an infinite number of suppliers, we're just going to have one firm supplying a particular market. And then we're going to look at other market structures that lie between the two extremes of one firm supplying a whole market, monopoly, and an infinite number of firms supplying the whole market, perfect competition. And of course, in reality, real firms out there, real businesses, are going to be somewhere along that spectrum. As I've said on a number of occasions now, perfect competition cannot exist in the real world. It's an abstract idea. Yeah? Monopoly, at least in terms of economic theory, again, is hard to actually pinpoint in real markets. In all markets, there's some degree of competition.
The MBA is a demanding course that teaches general business and management principles to students who often come from very different types of background. So on all our MBA modules, we assume that there is no prior knowledge of, for example, accounting or economics or marketing analysis. We assume that students, this is their first exposure to such disciplines. Clearly, in some instances, that's not the case, but students are at no disadvantage if they've not previously studied business before.
We're going to be developing theory first, and then particularly through the case studies on Moodle, we're going to be applying these models, these sets of theories, to examining how real markets operate out there. So again, you've got to have a mindset that what we're going through here is a set of assumptions, really, and the consequences of making these assumptions, rather than trying to describe the real decisions or the real behaviour of real companies. And sometimes, particularly MBA students, find that quite a difficult thing to do. You know, you're sitting there and you may be saying to yourself, but how does this relate to the real world? How does this relate to the real business?